The Endless Hotel. The story begins on a stormy night. The rain falls in relentless sheets, turning the winding highway into a blurred, treacherous path. Ethan Wells, a young professional traveling for work, squints through his windshield, his wipers struggling against the downpour. His GPS flickers and freezes before the screen goes dark, leaving him with no sense of direction. Anxiety creeps in as his fuel gauge dips closer to empty. Out of the corner of his eye, he spots a dim glow cutting through the rain. A neon sign reading "The Hollow Pines Inn" flickers erratically, some letters barely lit. The building itself looms out of the darkness, an aging structure with a vaguely sinister air, its windows dimly lit and its facade streaked with grime. Desperate for shelter, Ethan pulls into the gravel parking lot. Gravel crunches under his tires as he parks and steps out into the rain. He pauses at the entrance, noticing the door's heavy, ornate frame, its brass handle cold to the touch. Inside, the lobby is eerily quiet, save for the faint hum of an old air conditioning unit. The walls are lined with faded wallpaper, and a dusty chandelier hangs overhead. A receptionist stands behind the counter, her face pale and drawn, her uniform slightly frayed at the edges. She glances at Ethan but avoids meeting his eyes. Ethan requests a room, his voice echoing slightly in the cavernous space. The receptionist barely speaks, her trembling hands sliding a brass key across the counter. "Room 217, she mumbles before retreating through a side door. As Ethan carries his suitcase to the elevator, he notices the antique furnishings, chairs with threadbare upholstery, a grandfather clock frozen at 3:15. The elevator creaks and groans as it ascends, the light inside flickering erratically. When the doors open, the hallway stretches out before him, impossibly long and dimly lit, the carpet's geometric pattern seeming to shift underfoot. Inside room 217, the air is stale and heavy. The room is sparsely decorated, with a small TV, a stiff-looking armchair, and a bed covered with a faded quilt. As Ethan sits on the edge of the bed, the TV turns on by itself, playing static before switching to a black and white image of an empty hallway. Ethan stares at the screen, unsettled, before switching it off. The next morning, Ethan ventures into the dining area, hoping to shake off the unease of the previous night. The room is dimly lit, with heavy drapes blocking out the sunlight. A few other guests sit at scattered tables, eating in near silence. Their faces are pale, their eyes darting nervously. Ethan notices a middle-aged man sitting alone, his hands trembling as he sips his coffee. The man's plate is untouched, and he keeps glancing at the windows as though expecting something to appear. Ethan tries to strike up a conversation, but the man quickly stands, leaving his chair scraping loudly against the floor. As he walks toward what he believes is the lobby, the hallway seems to loop back on itself. He passes the same potted plant and crooked painting repeatedly. His steps quicken, panic rising as the lights flicker and dim. Doors line the walls, but each one he opens leads to another hallway, another staircase. Ethan's breath comes faster, his pulse pounding in his ears. When he finally stops to gather his bearings, he finds himself standing outside room 217 again. Ethan stumbles upon a cleaning woman in the hallway. She freezes when she sees him, her cart of supplies nearly toppling over. Her face is pale, her eyes wide with fear as she whispers, "You shouldn't be out here." Desperate for answers, Ethan demands to know what's happening, but the woman shakes her head frantically. "The hotel doesn't like it when you ask questions," she mutters, glancing at the walls as if they're listening. Before Ethan can press her further, a loud creak echoes down the hallway. The woman hurriedly wheels her cart away, leaving Ethan alone with the oppressive silence. Ethan resumes his search for an exit, but the hotel seems to actively work against him. The walls ripple as if alive, and the floor beneath him feels unsteady, like walking on a trampoline. At one point, he reaches an elevator and steps inside, only to find the buttons labeled with nonsensical symbols. The elevator descends into darkness, and when the doors open, He's in an unfamiliar part of the hotel, a grand ballroom that wasn't there before. Inside the ballroom, Ethan discovers a crumpled piece of paper lying on a dusty table. The handwritten note reads, "The hotel feeds on fear. It keeps us here. Stop being afraid, and you might escape." The shadows around the room grow darker, and faint whispers echo through the air. Ethan's resolve hardens as he realizes the hotel is alive, feeding on his terror. As Ethan moves through the ballroom, shadowy figures emerge from the corners. They are the ghosts of past guests, their faces twisted with fear and anguish. The whispers grow louder, turning into a cacophony of screams as an amorphous, shifting entity materializes in the center of the room. Summoning all his courage, Ethan confronts the entity, refusing to let it consume him. He focuses on calming his breathing, silencing the fear inside him. The entity falters, its form flickering as the whispers fade. Suddenly, Ethan finds himself outside, standing in the empty parking lot. The rain has stopped, and the air feels lighter. He looks back at the hotel, now dark and decrepit, its neon sign shattered. As he drives away, Ethan vows never to ignore his instincts again. But as his car radio crackles to life, a faint whispering voice calls his name. If you love this video, please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.